so clear. When my heart is breaking, I can close my eyes. It's already here.
Hey JD, do you know it's been 10 months since we did a video blog?
We should totally do another one.
We got time.
Sure.
Excellent.
Hi, what you been up to?
It's been kind of busy around here. One more person asked me how my summer was. I might actually have to take evasive action.
Well, we take, summers off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
Time to relax.
totally what we do.
Recharge your batteries.
Yes, I did relax a little bit. Our favorite series, the new book came out. There is one series that both of us read.
The Iron Druid Chronicles.
Yeah, so props to Kevin Hearn. Loved it. As a female lead. But anyway, in between the one fiction book that I got to read this summer, we've been kind of busy. You went to ISTE.
Went to ISTE. Got to go down to Atlanta and got to do a workshop. So
Nice.
we did a workshop on how to make Google Plus operate like an LMS, and got to use some really cool products. Like we did some of the rubric stuff and some of the G-class folders and how to use Google Drive with Google Plus.
Oh, nice.
And so it was a really cool workshop. Got to see Ashley Judd as a keynote speaker.
Yeah, you said that.
She is a.
I was back here working, mind you, while he was lollygagging around ISTE. But
she is a phenomenally well-spoken person, and she gave a very heartfelt keynote about the importance of teachers and being able to listen to kids and being, quite possibly that one person in a child's day or in a child's week who matters.
Nice.
And so that was nice. I spent a lot of time playing with toys. And not I'm not talking about the toys, although
I'm not terribly surprised at this
we did
statement.
pick up some new mascots, but we got badges from.
Thanks,
from
Nathan.
Thanks, Nathan. One of the, on the floor, there's all the giveaways and
Right.
everybody's showing everything off. The buzzword for this year is personalization,
Rock on.
which appears to mean, giving them a different multiple choice question based on how many they got right. 'Cause,
Okay. Yeah, that's how you learn.
Yeah, deep and influential.
Awesome.
But off of the floor, you had all sorts of workshops being run about makey boards and circuit boards and 3D printing
Cool.
and how to use this to bring things in your classroom to life. So we've, as early as last week,
Yeah.
with our summer school class, started using some of these boards to bring real lived experiences, not just of programming, but of logical sequential thinking, of problem solving, of
Creative building. Yeah.
building.
Oh, they had a great time.
Yeah.
And
So if nothing else, coming out of ISTE as a firm idea of where the maker movement can be used in the classroom, that was phenomenally worth it.
Awesome. Meanwhile, I was back here learning that during a severe thunderstorm warning, when the lightning bolt hits the building and sets the smoke alarms off, and you're supposed to evacuate the building, but there is a severe thunderstorm warning, the fire department actually does not yell at you if you don't send your kids out in the storm.
These are good words to know.
Yes.
Coming to you from Jen LeMaster,
Yes.
now assistant principal.
So I got to learn about that. I got to learn about particles in renovation setting off alarms and evacuating the building. I got to learn that when the wire is shorted out, your intruder alarm goes off.
Very nice.
Oh yes, it's been a wonderful, wonderful summer of alarms. But in the end, it will be fabulous because we are doing some major renovations.
Yeah.
And if we trigger a couple of alarms in a you expect it. It's fine. But many of you either came to visit or knew that we did a couple model classrooms last year to see what kind of furniture did we like. We like to know context. We like to have some experience before we, and reflection before we move into a broader.
And this has been one of our more successful implementations.
Oh yeah.
And it was another example of if you start talking about it early.
Yes.
And if you plan, so it was somewhere in the middle of year one, and saying, okay, now that we're in a one-to-one environment, what does that do to the classroom?
Right.
And so we built the model rooms based off of the feedback we got from the teachers.
Right, because chairs and rows do not work anymore
Absolutely.
in any one-to-one environment.
Yeah.
It doesn't work with the teacher static at the front.
You know, students
So-
being able to share their screens is actually important.
Right,
And so building a classroom around what a new classroom would need,
right.
what this new environment brings to the table.
And we lived with it for a while, and so now we're doing 18 rooms this summer,
18 rooms this summer.
and some performance space in the art room and some other spaces, and then next year we'll go into the information commons and our environment. So this room we'll have another iteration of it, but it
Yeah.
will not be this room anymore. But yeah, it's been exciting. The furniture showed up today. Pull up to school and there's a big truck out.
Actually, it's very funny. Like it's amazing watching the coordination that has to go on in a
Yes.
construction. If you've never actually lived through a school renovation or a reconstruction, this is when the painters are coming in,
Right.
and the painters have to come in just before the people who hang audio and video wire comes in, because we geeks get kind of icky about people painting our wires.
Right.
And then the
But
cloud
then the
ceiling
floor
has to go up. The floor
Floor
has
goes
to be done.
different after the paint and
Yeah.
the wires because you don't want to drop stuff on you.
Right.
Yeah, and this all usually happens within the week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Classrooms, it was happening at a day-by-day basis,
Yeah.
like paint or carpet. So it's been kind of wild. So we're about to transition, though, to the first of school.
2.5 weeks from the start of school.
Right. And so we've been living all of these major renovations, and we're getting, JD and I and the others in the building are getting really excited to show people what these rooms look like, but kind of recognizing what the first couple of days of school are like.
Yeah, it's actually been a lot of my thought process the last couple of days is thinking about the different mindset people are in.
Right.
I mean, the teachers have been doing curriculum planning. They've been doing lesson plans. They've been thinking about some new courses and
Right.
some courses that have been revamped. And they've been resting, hopefully, and they're
Mhm.
gearing up and they're ready to come into their classes. But they're also nervous.
Right.
Because they're coming, for most of them, are coming into a brand new
New room.
classroom with new technology,
Right.
and they need some training and some hand-holding, but they also need their classrooms to work.
Right.
And so
We're hanging 18 projectors and 18 Extron systems.
a lot of my thought has been, the different place and the different mindset you are when you've been living this journey of construction day to day,
Right.
and you're at the end of your journey of construction, and you are ready to rest, and you are
And
ready
maybe
to
a little
be
tired. Yeah, that's
maybe a
what I
little
was gonna say.
tired, and you're ready to be congratulated. And I look at my network administrator who's been working, nonstop, and thinking about what his first 2 days are going to be like, because his first 2 days are going to be, this projector needs to be straightened and these things need to be plugged in, and all of those are absolutely legitimate. And it's just people coming at it from different mindsets.
Right. Right. And the same way, in an even bigger picture, transitioning, we have 218 new students coming.
One of our largest classes in a while.
Ever. And, we've spent several years now talking about how do we transition, because we have 40 plus sending schools. So how do you transition students from middle school to a high school environment? But now, not only is it just middle school to high school, it is middle school that could be any number of things, public, private, charter, homeschool, to this environment that not only in the teaching and learning, technology-wise, teaching and learning, sort of executive function expectation-wise of being in a college preparatory school, we're also in a Jesuit school. So
Right.
we have a particular faith-based charism that we're bringing all these students in. And it's really not only students, we have new faculty and staff members too.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been working on in between watching paint dry and wires and tripping over things and stuff. Of how do we help that transition? We're going to have another digital day to bring freshmen in. Come get your network ID, come
Right.
get your Edline code, bring your device in, put it on the network, get your library information. And we did this last year, and I highly recommend some kind of day. In our case, we don't have to train students per se on how
Right.
to use the device, but it was really helpful. We're exhausted. I mean, it's
a busy
day. But having that day where students and families can come in, try it out, just like we do with teachers, practice a little bit under some guidance, get the bugs out, get the questions out, get that nervousness out before formal orientation happens.
It creates the comfort zone.
Yes.
And lets people feel more comfortable with their technology and what they're using. It keeps us from having long lines of people who need to reset passwords.
Or for teachers having to
Yeah.
lose class time that first time of day because half the class hasn't activated their network ID, so
Right.
they can't get on the wireless. And it also makes that human bond. You know, people get a lot of emails from us as they're transitioning into Brebuff, and it's like, oh, you're Jen. Okay, I get it. Oh, you're Mrs. Lemaster. You're Mr. Ferries-Rowe. And I think it's very helpful to make that human connection interpersonally, as well as giving them that experience.
But then, I think you're right. The higher level content and context, the things that relate to the mission of our school, the things that relate to how we do education here,
Mhm.
is almost more important than resetting your password, making sure you can get on the wireless.
Mhm.
As I walked a group of freshmen who were taking a summer school class through, not only this is going to be a reflection activity, which
Right.
they've done with another teacher, but this is why we do reflection activities here. This is why they're important.
Right.
And these are the types of changes that we're looking for.
Mhm.
And you could see the kids, and some of them were freaked out, and
Right.
some of them got it right away, and a lot of them had never heard anybody talk like that before.
Right. Hopefully we can do a drop-in picture. Part of our summer also has been helping redesign the freshman religion class, and
Right.
we're going to start talking about some of these things. And if any of you are particularly interested in this kind of movement, I made a Google community. We're doing a One Brebuff, One Book this year, Tattoos on the Heart by Father Greg Boyle, who's actually going to come speak to us on, we think, September 11th. And so I made a Google community to try it out, and I'm sort of dropping in not only resources based on that particular book and that event, but other sort of seminal Jesuit education pieces so that we can have these sort of conversations of how do we create a classroom of holy ground? What does it mean to reflect?
Right.
There's a great article in America Magazine right now called Unfinished Houses, and this idea that service, you don't complete service necessarily.
Right.
There's steps to it, and sometimes you are going, and education is like this. We are building unfinished houses. These kids are going to walk out the door, or staff members or faculty are going to leave here, and possibly 5-10 years down the road, this light bulb or this thing will happen, and all that they learned here will suddenly fall into place, but we won't be there to see it.
I really think it's important for us, to start thinking in terms of if you're teaching in a high school, you don't have 1 year, and it's not just one class, and it's not just 1 week. It's a 4-year journey.
Right.
And so setting up a Religion 1 class, in our case,
Mhm.
that helps prepare them for not just Religion 2,
Right.
but for the entire school experience became part of our discussion.
Mhm.
We do the same thing with the digital citizenship class.
Oh yeah, well, and the renovations. I mean, we're not just doing this for our own hubris to have pretty fancy rooms.
Although they are very pretty and very fancy. But I really that idea that your freshman is a transition time period.
Yes.
And if you consciously make it a transition time period, then you are on much better footing because you're acknowledging where those kids are in their lives.
Right.
And you're acknowledging that they need that time to adjust, and you can help them adjust and grow if you make your classes do that.
Right. Well, and first-year teachers, and that's why we have first-year formations, and we have meetings. We have conversations about what is it like to be a teacher in this kind of environment, and what those expectations are, and how you're going to grow. Hopefully, grow.
Absolutely.
So.
Okay, so we talked about the mascots that we got from ISTE. We have one more mascot to introduce. Last year we had the IT Dragon. This year we have a Game of Thrones dire wolf pup. And the contest is this. Our ed tech dire wolf needs a name. And so we would like to throw it to you, our 2, possibly 3 fans.
This is how we're going to try and get more generated conversation on YouTube.
And maybe, just maybe, we should do these more than once every 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll aim for that.
So, we'll put links to the books that we talked about and to the Google Plus community that Jen created down below. We look forward to hearing from you about what we should name the EdTech Direwolf, and he will start showing up in JD photos because we've got lots of EdTechy stuff that we're doing.
Yes.
And if you guys have any questions, comments, ideas, or anything you want us to rant or talk about, feel free to drop us a line, and hope you keep reading the blog, and we will see you later.
Bye-bye. I was better.
That was better. That was almost near good.